All right, let's get right into it. If you're a mid-level engineer and you feel like you've hit a wall, this is for you. We're going to break down a 5-step system that's all about shifting your focus. It's designed to get you that senior role you've been wanting. And believe it or not, it often means working smarter, not harder.
So, does this feel familiar? You're putting in the hours, you're grinding. Maybe you're the most dedicated person on your team. But then you look over and you see other people who seem to be doing less, just breezing past you up that career ladder. It's frustrating, right? Well, the reason this is happening probably isn't what you think.
This quote right here, this is the whole game. Your value and whether or not you get that promotion, it's not about how many hours you clock. It's all about your ability to solve the really tough problems, the ones that other people can't. It's about making yourself irreplaceable.
So here's our roadmap. First, we'll talk about something called the promotion paradox. And then we're going to walk through 5 huge mindset shifts: solving hard problems, truly understanding the internals of your tools, exercising your judgment, owning the outcome of your work, and finally, communicating with clarity.
Okay, let's start with the biggest, most fundamental shift you need to make. This is all about changing your identity from being the hard worker to being the clever problem solver. Now, those might sound kind of similar, but in the real world, they are worlds apart.
I mean, just look at the difference here. A company can always find another person to grind for 10 hours a day on straightforward tasks. That's a commodity. But that one engineer who every once in a while steps in and cracks a complex problem that has everyone else stumped, that person is invaluable. The harder you are to replace, the more a company will fight to keep you.
So, how do you actually become that clever problem solver? Well, step 1 is you have to intentionally seek out the right kind of problems. The messy, complicated ones that really build your reputation and make you an asset that your company and others will value.
So where do you even look for these problems? The key is don't wait for them to be assigned to you. You got to be proactive. Hunt for those performance bottlenecks. When a new project kicks off, raise your hand and offer to architect the foundation. Or, that messy, tangled part of the code base everyone complains about but nobody wants to touch? Go fix it. Making the entire team more productive is one of the fastest ways to get noticed.
Now, step 2 flows right from that. See, you can't solve really hard problems if you don't have a deep, fundamental understanding of your tools. It's just not enough to know what they do. You have to know how they work under the hood. This, right here, is the bedrock of senior-level expertise.
Oof. This quote is a painful but powerful reminder of why this is so important. Getting hit with a question in an interview and realizing you only have a surface-level understanding, that's a serious wake-up call. That deep curiosity, that drive to figure out what's really going on is exactly what separates the pros from the amateurs. It's what lets you debug and design truly solid systems.
So how can you build this deep knowledge without it feeling overwhelming? Just use this simple framework. First, whenever you hit something you don't know, ask. Use an AI, dig into the source code, go down that rabbit hole until it finally clicks. Then, step 2, note it down. Distill that new concept into one single, clear sentence. And finally, and this is the most important part, interview yourself. Regularly quiz yourself on what you've learned. It actually takes about 5 to 7 times of successfully recalling something to lock it into your long-term memory.
All right, for step 3, we're talking about what is quickly becoming your most valuable skill in the age of AI, your technical judgment. Here's the thing, AI isn't going to replace good engineers, but it will absolutely expose those with poor judgment. Think of it like this, your judgment is the foundation, and all the code AI generates is just built on top of it. A weak foundation means everything will eventually collapse. And here's a super practical way to sharpen that judgment. Before you write a single line of code, just stop and ask yourself these 3 questions. First, is this going to make life easier or harder for my teammates? Second, can this piece of code be tested or even ripped out on its own without breaking everything else? And third, am I following the established patterns here or am I just creating chaos? Trust me, the people reviewing your code can always tell when you've thought these things through. Now, step 4 is absolutely 100% crucial. Seriously, if you miss this one, all the other steps don't really matter for your promotion. You must connect your technical work to a tangible business outcome. Management has to see how your code actually impacts the bottom line. As engineers, we can get obsessed with things like beautiful abstractions or scaling for 1 million users, just in case. But that's not what gets you promoted. Leadership cares about reducing risk, saving money, creating new ways to make money, and preventing costly outages. Real ownership means you're optimizing for business impact, not just for technical perfection.
So, how do you show that you're thinking this way? It's simple. Before a big project, write a short design doc. I'm not talking about a 50-page novel. Just a page or two is perfect. Make sure you answer these 3 questions. It shows everyone that you get the why behind the what. This builds a massive amount of trust with your managers and gets you pulled into much more important work.
And that brings us to our final step, number 5. And it's an area where a lot of really smart engineers fall short. Communication. You can have the most brilliant solution in the world, but if you can't explain it clearly, especially to people who aren't engineers, its value is basically zero. This skill can literally be the difference between getting a promotion and getting laid off.
I mean, this is a perfect example. The first statement is just a technical fact. Okay, so what? But the second one? It translates that fact into a clear business problem that a product manager or an exec can immediately understand and care about. Your job is to bridge that gap.
Just stick to these 3 simple rules. 1. Use plain English. Ditch the jargon. 2. Always start with the business context, the why, before you get into the technical details, the how. And 3. Please keep it short. Everyone is busy. Being able to transmit a lot of information in just a few words is a genuine superpower.
So, there you have it. The 5-step system to get you to that senior level. Solve hard problems, go deep on your tools, use good judgment, connect your work to the business, and communicate clearly. This combination is what makes you trustworthy, promotable, and ultimately irreplaceable.
And as you start building this foundation, you have to remember that AI is changing everything. It can either be a crutch that makes your judgment weaker, or it can be a tool that multiplies your impact tenfold. These 5 mindsets we've covered today, they're your key to making sure AI turns you into that irreplaceable, clever problem solver, not just a slightly faster hard worker. The choice is yours.